Heavy rain triggers flash floods in southwestern Saudi Arabia. Roads, vehicles were flooded. Vehicles in the Saudi city of Taif in the western part of Saudi navigated streets overflowing with water on Thursday night following rainfall. The southwestern region of the oil-rich kingdom has seen heavy rainfall earlier this week. Latest computer modeling results indicate that rainfall will be concentrated in scattered parts of the highlands of Jazan, Asir, and Al-Baha. These areas are expected to experience occasional heavy rainfall, accompanied by hail. The forecast team explained that cloud activity and rainfall will be concentrated in the afternoon and early evening hours, before the weather gradually stabilizes across various regions thereafter. This weather system is expected to continue affecting the kingdom until the end of August, with chances of rain weakening and becoming more concentrated in early September, with less intensity in the far southwest of the kingdom.
والله لا لك صراحة الله يسترنا بس.
The EU's foreign policy chief hit out at Russia on Friday, saying the latest major air attack on Kiev that damaged EU diplomatic offices showed that President Vladimir Putin was mocking any kind of peace efforts. According to Associated Press, her comments came a day after the Russian bombardment of Kiev, that included a rare strike on the center of Ukraine's capital, killing at least 21 people and wounding 48. We saw yesterday the huge attacks on Kiev. Also, a European delegation was hit. Fortunately, nobody was hurt physically, but still, I mean, these attacks show that Putin is just mocking any kind of peace efforts, she said. What we have to do is increase pressure on Russia, she added. Kallas spoke from Copenhagen, Denmark, as EU defense ministers are gathering in an informal meeting to discuss the latest developments and plans to help Ukraine. The bombardment of drones and missiles was the first major Russian attack on Kiev in weeks as US-led peace efforts to end the three-year war struggled to gain traction. The Kremlin said Russia remained interested in continuing peace talks despite Thursday's air attack, which was one of the war's biggest since it began in 2022.
We saw yesterday the huge attacks on Kiev. Also, European delegation was hit. Fortunately, nobody was hurt physically, but still, I mean, these attacks show that Putin is just mocking any kind of peace efforts that are made. So what we have to do is increase pressure on Russia, and this is really what they understand, the pressure. Ukraine needs backup now, and Ukraine needs all the military support right now. And that's why we are also discussing with the defense ministers what more can we do now. We have the ammunition initiative, and we have put a deadline in the end of this year. We are discussing whether we can bring it forward because they desperately need ammunition. They desperately need air defense, all these things. So this is also something what we need to discuss right now. When it comes to security guarantees, of course, we are talking about the day after, but as I said, it's not close if you look at what
Russians seek to link back up with their cut-off forces in the Dobropilya spearhead, hoping to salvage the situation and exploit a breakthrough deep behind Ukrainian lines. However, as the Azov Army Corps wasted no time, the encircled Russian forces were already being destroyed as two of Ukraine's most effective drone and ground units worked together to defeat the Russian horde approaching from the south, according to RFU News media outlet. It is noted that after the Azov Corps redeployed and executed a pincer maneuver on the Russian spearhead toward Dobropilya, a large number of Russian soldiers had been driven out of the Ukrainian New Donbass defense line and encircled. The 93rd Mechanized Brigade shared footage of how they were cleaning up scattered remnants of Russian soldiers using tight drone surveillance and strikes to prevent them from moving out in open before dealing with the new isolated pockets one by one. After Russian soldiers were forced into hiding, they conducted a concentrated barrage with Grad artillery systems integrated into the brigade's fire support network. The aim was to target the most concentrated pockets of Russian forces and saturate them as much as possible before a ground assault was made possible. The unit even shared footage of a ground drone mounted with a high-caliber machine gun driving through the streets after Russians were forced inside, firing into buildings where drones had detected a Russian presence. RFU News says. It is noted that Ukrainians cleared out pockets of Russian resistance, taking many prisoners of war and proudly raising the Ukrainian flag and the flags of their units in the areas they liberated, with the 79th and 82nd Air Assault Brigades taking the lead in Zoloty Kolodiaz, contrary to earlier reports of the Da Vinci Regiment acting alone. The reason why Ukrainians opted to clear out the encircled Russians before dealing with the rest of the salient is that Russian forces could easily supply these pockets with water, food, and ammunition using drones, as they had done many times before. RFU News says, as the clearing operations ensured Ukrainians would not be hit from behind, the Azov Brigade took the lead in continuing the advance south, coordinating tightly with Magyar's birds, providing additional drone fire support. The main goal was to cut off another part of the Russian salient before moving south and consolidating control over the grey zone that Ukraine had previously established over the river crossings. As Ukrainians commenced their assaults, however, Russian commanders quickly launched an all-out effort to re-establish links with their remaining encircled forces to the north, hoping to salvage the largest breakthrough Russians had made since 2022. RFU News says that the elite snipers of Ukraine's Azov Brigade, combined with the most effective drone units of Magyar's birds, rained hell down on the advancing Russian soldiers.